Hey guys, Stuart here, hope you're well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get walking bass lines into your fingerstyle guitar playing. As you just heard from my short demo, it's a great way of creating an illusion of more than one instrument playing at the same time, but it's also a fantastic device for backing up a vocalist or accompanying another instrument. We're going to be in standard tuning here, so let's get started. The first thing to focus on is how to move from one chord to another. So we'll practice moving from an A-7 chord to a D9 chord. When playing walking bass lines, it's very common to condense the chords down to as few fingers as possible. So for example, the A-7 chord, we'd actually get rid of the third finger in that chord so we can free it up to play a bass note. And in fact, the note we've got rid of there is the fifth of the chord, which doesn't do much and is normally the first to go. So we're going to be left with notes on strings 6, 4, 3 and 2. Before moving to the D9 chord. At first, think very simply in terms of rhythm. We're going to sustain these chords for 1 bar each, 4 beats to the bar, so we're thinking we could play a bass note maybe on beats 1, 2, 3 and 4. Further on down the line I'll show you how to play more notes, but to begin with, just think 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see how we go from an A-7 chord to the D9 chord. I'm going to play the chord on beat 1. And I'm going to play a B on beat 2, followed by a C on beat 3, which will give me 1, 2, 3. Now, to get to the following chord, a really useful rule of thumb here is to approach this chord from a note which is a semitone above or below, or a tone above or below. Let's see how that works. I'm going to approach the D9 chord from a semitone above to begin with. And now a semitone below. Let's try a tone above. And finally a tone below. You'll find a tone below isn't so effective because obviously we're just playing a C twice, but it can work in some cases. Now with the notes we've used there for the bass line, we can start combining them in a different order. So for example, we could do the A chord to begin with, go into a C, B, and then the D sharp, a semitone above the D chord. There's a semitone below. So already we've got many different possibilities about how we can get from this one chord, the A minor, into the 4 chord, in this case the D9 chord. The next thing we can do is to add some syncopation to the whole sequence, which will give us a swing feel. Syncopation simply means that we've pushed something off the beat, typically onto the end of the beat. So for the first chord, the A minor chord, instead of playing beats 1, 2, 3, 4. We could put the bass line on beat 1 and then syncopate the chord itself so it falls on the end of beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. We could do the same thing on the D chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing the chord muted there, which helps to give a swing feel, but you could also sustain it. There's muted. And sustained. So syncopation can really start to bring your sequence to life. We'll add an extra chord to the sequence now. We'll go from an A-7 to the D9 to a G major 13 chord. So now we're dealing with the famous jazz chord progression, the 2, 5, 1. We'll use the original bass line to go from the A minor to the D. Remember, we can use those approach notes to get to the D chord. Semitone above or below, a tone above or below. When we get to the G chord, we can start thinking about using the notes from the G major scale to create our bass line. So we'd have a G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and a G. Of course, you can do all this by ear as well, which is a very effective way, but using the notes in the scale can be a little bit quicker. So with the original bass line from the A minor 7 to the D, now we have to get to a G chord. So we can just travel down that scale from the D to a C to a B. Let's try F sharp, and then to the G. We can still use those principles of approach notes to get to the G, from a semitone above or below, a tone above or below, or a semitone above. Sometimes that will give you a little bit of extra colour if you want it to. It can be a little bit more dissonant, but it can be very effective. Remember, if travelling back to a G major chord, really you're thinking about moving from a major 7th rather than a minor 7th, but the minor 7th can add a nice colour. Well, let's try a tone above the G chord. So we see those notes from the scale give us all these different options to work with. If you listen to bassists, you'll hear that they don't always use that very strict, straight rhythm of one note per beat in the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll play different rhythmic values, sometimes playing eighth notes, i.e. notes which only last for half a beat. And we can copy that as well. So for example, we can go 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1. All I'm doing there is pulling off from fret 7 of string 6 to the open string, and then from fret 2 of string 5 to the open string. It just adds extra colour and more rhythmic interest. Sometimes you might actually want to reduce the amount of bass notes that you're playing. So while we still keep thinking about that steady 4 beats to the bar system, we can think about placing less bass notes in there. For example, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, the use of space can be a great device just for giving the music more of a pause or to slow things down a little bit.